we all go to watch movies. And how do we watch? We go there, we see the hero and the heroine, and we laugh when the hero or heroine is happy, and we cry when she is suffering. And we are so lost in that movie that we totally identify with that hero and heroine and the circumstances. And ultimately, happy ending. All movies end happy in the movies. So we come out happy and the hero, heroine live happily ever after. I guess they haven't seen real life. How does it happen in real life? Or in fairy tale also. Oh, at the end, everything worked out. The villain went to jail, hero and heroine got married. And so we come out very happy. But throughout the movie, we totally identify with the characters and we get lost in that. And we don't come out any better. As we went in the movie, so we came out. But then there are a few people who are connoisseurs, who know how a movie is produced. So they also go to watch the movie, but they are not lost in the story of the hero and heroine. They want to know, how did this movie come out? What is the origin of this story? How is the production, the acting, the music? So they are paying more attention to what is behind the movie than what is in front. And same is our condition in this world. We come to this world and, we grow up, study, get married, and then we get engrossed in the world. I have my friends, I love them. Some people I hate. So there are friends and villains and enemy and good and bad people. And I go through this whole life running to what I like, running away from what I dislike, and chasing after things, being, finding happiness in that. And at the end of our life, we have not improved. We have not progressed in our spiritual journey. जैसे आए वैसे गए. आया था वैसे ही गया. But there are a few masters like Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda, Shankaracharya Ji, Buddha, Jesus, Mirabai, Tukaram. These masters, they are not here to enjoy the world. That is not their purpose, to just khao piyo, maja karo. That is not their goal. They want to know what is the origin of the world. Where did the world come from? Who is the creator? Who is the producer and director of this entire universe? What makes it function? And so their goal in life is to discover what is the origin, what is the substratum, what is that. And that is the difference between us and these wise masters. These masters live for knowing the truth, getting the highest knowledge, and then they share it with us. And that's why we have all the Upanishads, all the Vivek Chudamani, all the great texts composed by masters, great rishis, Shankaracharya Ji, and so on. And then we have masters like Pujya Gurudev and other, Vinoba Bhave and Tilak, Lokmanya Tilak. They all interpret this for us. They interpret the Bhagavad Gita, write commentaries, Jnaneshwari. They having understood what is the origin of this universe, they want us also to learn and to understand. So that is the purpose of studying Bhagavad Gita. We have commentary by Pujya Gurudev and also by many other acharyas who have the commentary. So by studying that, we also grow. And that is the purpose of this class. That is the purpose of studying Bhagavad Gita, of studying Upanishad. And so we have to see why we came to this world. What is the purpose? Last week we had talked about the men of wisdom, the last three shlokas, where they said the people who have seen, become one with that Brahman, who have experienced the essence of this universe, the truth of this universe. Ihaiva tayajita sarga yesham samye sitam manaha. Then their mind remains in equanimity. They don't run after likes and dislikes, raga, dvesha, chase after things. They become guides for us, and they remain the same in heat and cold, joy and sorrow. That is the difference between us and the world and the wise people. We get up very high when I'm happy and then depressed when I'm down. But they say, nirdosham hi samam brahma, tasmat brahmani te stha. They're always established in the truth of Brahman because Brahman is the same. And they experience the highest joy. Sukham akshayam ashnute. So by studying the Bhagavad Gita and following the teachings of Bhagavan Sri Krishna, we also can reach that level in this life itself. That should be our goal. That should be our purpose. So Bhagavad Gita should not only be studied, okay, chapter 4 ho gaya, abhi 5 ho gaya, now we are 6 ho jayega, 18 chapters, not for check mark, not for ticking, but how can I apply this knowledge? So that's what we talked about, the men of wisdom, and how they remain without getting attached to, things and beings. Now, praise Richard, even things are happy, they don't get extremely happy. Things that are down, they don't get that. But we say, that is too difficult, I mean, there is joy in the world, right? There is fun. You eat an ice cream, that is fun. You buy some new piece of jewelry or new car or new dress or new house. Isn't there pleasure in that? So why don't these Mahatmas let us enjoy that? At least, we cannot enjoy the highest sukha of Brahman. That may be very far, maybe some. But at least let us enjoy worldly pleasures. Why do these Mahatmas and Bhagavan Sri Krishna tell us not to enjoy? Not to enjoy does not mean do not enjoy, but do not get caught up. So why do they tell us that? So today's shloka will maybe only cover two, are very, very powerful when they talk about worldly pleasures and how to deal with them, and why depending on worldly pleasures is a sorrow. So that we will see that all of these worldly pleasures end in sorrow. So we'll do shloka number 22, chapter 5, shloka number 22. Ye hi samsparshaja bhogaha.
Ye samsparshaja bhogaha.
Dukkhayonaya evate.
Dukkhayonaya evate.
Adyantavanta kaunteya.
Adyantavanta kaunteya.
Nateshu ramate buddhaha.
Nateshu ramate buddhaha.
All together. Yehi samspargaja bhogaha. Dukkhayonaya evate. Adyantavanta kaunteya. Nateshu ramate buddhaha. So Bhagwan tells us, yehi samsparshaja bhogaha. So these bhogas, these enjoyments are samsparshaja, due to contact. What is contact we'll talk about, but contact with sense objects, with the sense organs. Dukkha yonaya evate, they are the origin of dukkha. Yoni means the womb, so they are the womb of sorrow. You say, Arey, I thought there is fun, in eating, and you are saying dukkha. Yes, Bhagavan says, dukkha yoni, they are the womb of dukkha. Why? Adyantavanta. They have a beginning and an end. Adi, Anta, they have a beginning and an end. O Kaunteya, O Arjuna. Why is he calling him Kaunteya? Because Arjuna was the daughter of Kunti. And Kunti was a very noble soul. So he's saying you are from a very noble family. The whole, Pandava Kuru dynasty were very noble people. And so you are from a very noble dynasty, very wise. And why are you not understanding this truth? So that's why we suppose somebody says, my grandfather was, prime minister of the Nawab of Hyderabad, and then he was another one was collector of, we are very proud, but then he was, but what am I? People are very proud about their ancestry, but what am I doing to make myself worthy of that dynasty? So here also he says, O Kaunteya, O Kunti's son, these sense objects, sense pleasures have a beginning and an end. Na teshu ramate buddha. Buddha means wise people. Do not find too much joy in that. Ramate buddha. But if we find joy in objects, then Bhagavan says we are not buddha, we are buddhuhu. So, so I have to decide, am I Buddha or am I buddhu? Buddhu means, for those who don't understand Hindi, means fool. So contact with sense objects we have to have. Now all of you are listening, so your ears are contacting the sound, you are sitting on chairs or your couch at home or wherever. So, and with your eyes we are seeing. So contact with objects is inevitable. With the eyes I see, with the ears I hear, nose I smell, tongue I taste, skin I touch. So contact with objects has to happen. We cannot live without. Bhagavan says, Sharir Yatra Pichate Na Prasiddhyeta Karmanaha. These karmas that we do in contact with the sense organs, with the sense objects, is required for us to function in the world. But Bhagavan says also in second chapter, the similar thing, Matra Sparshastu Kaunteya, Shitoshna Sukha Dukha Daha, Agama Paino Nityaha, Tanstitikshasva Bharata. Bharata, O Arjuna, Matra Sparsha, the contact of the sense organs with the sense objects. What do? Sheet Oshna Sukha Dukha Daha. So with the body I get heat and cold, with the mind I get joy and sorrow, with the intellect I get success and failure. With the ego I think enemy and friend. So we all encounter these pairs of opposites. But when sorrows come, how do we deal with that? So Bhagavan says, Agama apaino anityaha. The same thing, that everything that has come will go. Joy has come, will not stay forever. Sorrow has come, will not stay forever. Adyanta vanta kaunteya, here he says. So there he says, Agama apaino anityaha. Anything in the world is temporary. How do I deal? Tan titikshasva bharata. O Arjuna, deal with them with forbearance. Titiksha. Do not get too much shaken by the worldly things. And as we said, they are the source of sorrow. They are the womb of sorrow. How is that the womb of sorrow? So people say, well, objects have joy, right? We say, yeah, they do have joy. But if objects had joy, then the same object should give the same joy to everybody. Like there is a sweet, laddu or mithai or something. Now, one person eats, he loves it. Other one says, no, keep it away from me. I'm diabetic. Last time I ate sweet, my blood sugar went to 300. So the same sweet for one person or another person says, I have given up sweet. So it depends on my mind and my condition. The same object to one person gives joy, another one gives sorrow. Alcohol, you pass by the liquor store, filled with beautiful bottles, all beautifully arranged. You and I just walk by, but an alcoholic, this is a new wine has just come, 70-year-old wine. And so he goes and buys it, he takes it home. Or a cigarette, the smoker, when he blows the smoke, he has so much joy. And you and I say, keep the smoke out, smoke outside. So the same object, if that means the joy is not in the object, it's in the mind. Not only that, but Gurudev in his commentary said, if object had joy, then more should give me more joy, right? So one laddu has joy, very good. Two laddus have joy. Third laddu now is getting less. 10th laddu, you are nauseous. You say, nahi chahiye mujhe. If laddu had joy, then one laddu gives 1 times joy. 10 laddus should give 10 times joy. It doesn't. So the joy is not in the object, it is in the mind. Secondly, the other problem is that it creates dependence. I become so dependent because I find that the world is giving me happiness. So I become dependent. It could be dependent on food, could be dependent on cigarettes, alcohol, could be dependent on a person, a meeting, by getting this person, getting this object. And then we spend our whole life chasing after things we like, running away from this life. And then if we don't get it, we feel we are incomplete. My life is not complete. I am unhappy. I didn't get what I want. I wanted it. And that dependence can lead to addiction. See, whether it's cigarettes, alcohol, or say there is a lady who has some sorrow in her life. And so she goes to the doctor. Maybe she's going through a divorce or her mother passed away or something, and she's sad. And the doctor says, no doubt. She said, I can't sleep. I'm having problems. Doctor says, okay, I'll give you for a few days some medicine to help you sleep and to relax your stress, but do not take it all the time, only when you need it. But she gets so dependent. She said, I have to have that to be happy because I am unhappy without it. So she'll go to the doctor and say, no, I need it for 3 months. 1 week, 2 weeks is not. Doctor says, just do some prayer, do some meditation, go get some counseling and get over your sorrow. No, only the medicine makes me happy. If one doctor doesn't give, I go to second, third. And soon I become hooked. Every 3 months, I need a refill on these medicines. And we know long-term use of these tranquilizers and medicines causes early dementia, causes, sleepiness, accidents, so many things happen. So addiction of anything is bad. And the one I always complain about that is cannabis, cannabis. What is the other name for it? Pot. Marijuana. And people think, I had when I used to practice, there was a young boy who was young man about 20, 25. He was having severe side effects from cannabis, vomiting from the marijuana, and he was dehydrated. And I told him, you need to stop this, because he even went to the ER one time. He said, it's legal, so what's wrong with it? And because we are so stupid, our country and our politicians, that we legalize these drugs, and once it's legalized, then they say everything is okay. It's okay to, and not only cannabis causes side effects, but it has serious effects on the brain. For young people, they take it, they end up with brain dysfunction, makes them stupid. I told that boy, I said, you're going to grow up stupid. And he looked at me like I am some crazy. Why am I telling him that? Obviously, he didn't stop. And not only that, but cannabis or marijuana becomes a gateway to other drugs. See, after some time, marijuana doesn't work. So then he will go illegally buy codeine so any of these addictions, so it starts out very simply, as she needed for a few days, and it becomes an addiction for life. That's why contact with sense objects, and it can be even something like money, money we need, yes, to function in the world. But when that becomes an addiction where the only purpose of my life is how much I can earn, and then I have, 100,000, I want a million. I have a million, I want 5 million. I have a billion, they are not still satisfied. They want 2 billion, 5 billion. Now, the richest man in the world, his salary is 1 trillion. 1 trillion. Majority of the countries of the world, totally their GNP is not 1 trillion. And that is one man's salary. How much greed can there be in this world? So that is the problem, that money becomes your whole purpose in life. And Shankaracharya ji uses very strong word. He says, Yatha Pashu Pravritti Nam. He says, it is like a Pashu. You're like an animal. He said, well, Shankaracharya ji, why are you calling us animal? I walk on 2 legs. He says, but look, what does Pashu do? Pashu runs after what makes him happy, runs away from, like a dog. If you give him a bread, he will come. If you show him a stick, he will run away. So you are like a Pashu. You are running after good and going after, running away from bad. No difference between you and a dog. In fact, he says Pashu are better than us. Because if you look at a lion, right, we think he's a wild animal, jungly, but he will kill a deer and then he's content. He'll not say, let me kill 3 deers that are roaming. So one for today, one for tomorrow, one day after. Let me keep it somewhere in the cave. No, once he lives from day to day. जब हो गया तब कल की कल देखी जाएगी. But you and I, we accumulate enough not only for our life, for our children, grandchildren. So that is the difference. So he says actually Pashu are better than us because at least a Pashu will not eat his own breed. But we have no problem in destroying our own, humans and all. So it says that this takes us on the path of prayers. See, there is Shreyas and prayers. Shreyas is the path of good and prayers is the path of pleasure. And Kathopanishad, Yamaraj tells Nachiketa, he says there are 2 things in life, Shreyas and prayers. Shreyas is not only what is good for you, but good for all time, in all situations. Prayers is a pleasure, it's a temporary pleasure, and ultimately results in problems, in suffering. Because as we had talked last week, you want joy for 1 day or you want joy for 10 days. No, I want joy forever. How about you have joy for 1 year and next 2 years you will suffer? No. So we look for permanence in temporary things, but a temporary thing will only give me temporary joy. I buy a new car. Okay, for a few years I have joy, then the car starts breaking down and then all the problems. Or I buy a beautiful house, new house, and then after a few years, roof is leaking and needs painting and ye ho gaya, wo ho gaya, all those problems, plumbing leak and everything. So that which little child, I've talked many times, gives us lot of joy. Then when he becomes a teenager, Are, kya hua Bhagwan? So anything that is temporary will give us temporary joy. If you want permanent joy, it is only in Om. It is only in Bhagwan, only in the self, only in the Atma, the self. And that's what we discussed in our meditation today. Then also acquiring objects needs work, right? I have to go out and earn. I have to put effort. I have to struggle. And then I have to compete. The same objects are limited and I have to get more. And then sometime I do nishiddha karma. I even do wrong things to get objects, dishonestly, cheating others. And there are 3 kinds of, sorrows we have heard. Adi Deva, Adi Bhautika, Adhyatmika. We have heard that very quickly. Adi Daivik is that comes from the nature, from God. Adi Bhautik is which comes from surroundings. And Adhyatmik comes from within, my health or my mind. So when I do something wrong, I get Adhyatmik dukh because, I did something wrong. That's not good. I cheated somebody. How about if I get caught? I worry about it. Then Adi Bhautik, I have done something wrong, but the police will come and catch me, or I cheated on my taxes, IRS will catch me. So it gives Adi Bhautik sorrow. And then how about Adi Devik? The law of karma. I have heard from Bhagavan Sri Krishna that karma, good karmas will give good results, bad karmas. Then I think, Hare, yeah, I should have thought of that before. So doing Nishiddha karma gives all three. Gives adhyatmic sorrow, then worldly sorrow, and divine sorrow also. And all these objects, they say, are like a mirage. What happens in a mirage? If it's very hot and the sand is there and you are searching for water, you are thirsty, and the sunlight falls on the sand and gives an impression of water. So you run after the water. You run, run, run. You get there, you find there is no water. There is sand. Then there is another light. So we keep running after and never find what we want. And that is the condition of these worldly objects. Not that I'm not saying one should not have money, live reasonably comfortable life, food, enjoyment. Yeah. But when you overdo it or when you become dependent on that, then it creates suffering. And dependence is bad. We all know that. People say, I don't mind dying, but I shouldn't suffer before I die. That's everybody's standard. I shouldn't suffer when I die. I should not become dependent. Otherwise, we are bedridden and we are dependent, and then somebody's changing us or taking us to the bathroom, feeding us. So dependence on anybody or anything is bad. And so these objects give us that kind of dependence, that kind of where then without that object, I am. So anything that last week we had Tulsi Das, he said, Paradhine swapne hi sukha nahi. Once you are dependent on somebody, even in your dream, you will not be happy. So that is paradhina. So how should we become independent? By connecting with Bhagwan within. Say, Bhagwan is with me. Whatever is happening, he is doing it. And then you deal with life's ups and downs. Say, okay, these are meant for me to grow. Joy comes, I should not be attached. Sorrow comes, I should grow from that. So we don't even look at sorrow as a punishment, as an opportunity for me to grow. And then people say, isn't there joy in heaven at least? Heaven, if we do good deeds, there is joy in heaven. We say, yeah, there is joy in heaven, but in heaven also you are worried because your credit card of karma slowly is depleting. Every day you are in heaven, you are enjoying food and drinks and all the, heavenly joys and Menka dancing and Ramba and all these apsaras and all. Your credit card is ticking. And then one day when it runs out, you are forcibly thrown out. In the middle of the dance, you are watching, and then suddenly you are gone. Where? Back to earth. Arey, yaar, I was having, that's why child cries when he's born. He said, again, I came back to this world of sorrow. So nothing in this world is permanent. And that's why our masters tell us, do something to improve yourself. And we have a very famous phrase, which is in Spanish, mañana. Mañana means tomorrow. Kal karunga. Anything you say, start meditation. Yes, I will start, but from tomorrow. Change your behavior, start listening to Bhagavad Gita, reading scriptures, going to temple, praying. From tomorrow, today I'm busy, and that tomorrow never comes. That's why in Spanish, when they don't want to do anything, they say mañana. That is a beautiful phrase. Kal karunga. And that is how we are also. So they say, but how about satsang? Satsang is also contact, right? Like now we are listening to Bhagavad Gita. So the ears are contacting these, or we are reading the scriptures, or we go to the temple to pray, or in our house we have a prayer room, we sit in front of Bhagwan. Isn't that contact also? That is contact of sense organs with sense objects. So you are saying they are all bad? No, that is Bhagwan tells us, and Shankaracharya and Puja Guru, they tell us, satsang is good. That type of contact. So we have to be choosy, we have to be careful as to the kind of contact. So doing satsang, meeting with saints, listening to talks, reading good books. So that kind of contact, samsparshaja, that type of contact will elevate our mind and take us upward and take us towards God. So anytime I have any contact with any object or any action I am doing, I should think, will this take me up or will this take me down? If this will take me towards God, I'll do it. If it takes me towards truth, I will do it. If it takes me towards sense objects, attachment, dependence, I will not do it. So we have to constantly look in our life, and that's what they say, Shreya and prayer. What is good for me and what is not good for me. And to find this truth of who we are, which is the final highest truth, highest joy in life, is to experience the oneness with God within. Last week we had talked about the man of wisdom, how much joy he has. He has millions and billion times joy more than us, even more than what the devas in heaven and the gods, even he or she experiences. These enlightened masters, even they may be getting old or having physical problems, but their inner joy is incomparable to any joy. Even Indra and all of those cannot enjoy the joy that a realized master does. So how do they do that? By going deep within. That's what we do in meditation. Every Sunday we have meditation class at 10:20, where we try to connect with our joy within. And Raman Maharishi Ji had said it very beautifully, how to connect with this joy in his Saddarshanam. It is a very, very little advanced text, but very beautiful. He says, Monena Majjan, Manasa Swarupa. It is Monena Majjan, going deep with silence. What is my roop and what is not my roop? Iti Brahma that is what I have to understand, what I really am and what I really not. How do I go deep within? So Raman Maharishi Ji gives a very beautiful example. He says, like a lady is drawing water, say from the well or a lake or a pond, and she has this very expensive bracelet and it slips out and falls deep in the well. Obviously, she or her husband cannot go get it, and it's very expensive, worth lakhs of rupees. So what do? They have these trained divers in India, and what these divers do, they don't have oxygen or any scuba diving or nothing. They just have skill, and what they do, they keep their mouth quiet, mona. They don't talk. When you're underwater, you shouldn't talk, and control their breath. And they can control the breath up to 5 minutes, several minutes, they can control their breath. And so in silence, they control the breath and go deep, deep, deep within. And maybe first time they don't find. And then the lady has told them, okay, the bracelet is, yellow color, gold, has green emeralds on it and some red rubies and all that. She describes that in detail. So now he knows what he is looking for. So he goes deep within and finally he finds. Only in depth, not on the surface. Same way, worldly objects are on the surface. If you want to find true depth, you have to go deep within. How? In silence. That means don't talk. When you sit for meditation, not only physically you should be silent, but make your mind also silent. So in silence, not talking, and controlling the breath. That's why before meditation, we do this anulom, vilom, and slowly breathing, and then go deep within and find that treasure. See, which will not be on the surface. On the surface, you'll find worldly things. If you want to find the the true treasure of life, go deep within and discover it. So that is the essence of this. People will say, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, why does he put such shlokas in the Bhagavad Gita? You know what I'll do? I'll write a new Gita and I'll remove all these shlokas when they say, if you do that, you'll become more popular than Bhagavan Sri Krishna. No, Bhagavan gave this message to Arjuna thousands of years ago and 8,000, and it is still valid as it was then. So that is why we study Bhagavad Gita, and that's why we are grateful to Bhagavan Sri Krishna and Puja Gurudev for giving us this message. I spent a little bit of time, but I thought this was an important shloka because that is everybody's question. Why should we not enjoy? So we do that. The next one is also continuing on that. But what is the benefit of living a life of self-control? They say self-control, where you should not, with any breeze, get blown here. Oh, this is popular now. This is the new fashion. Let me go buy it. My closet is so full of clothes. I don't have place to put any clothes. But I'll go to the store and buy 3 new dresses. Why? Because they are in fashion. So why not to do that? And what is the benefit if I do that? Live a life of control. So in shloka number 23, Shaknoti haiva yas sodhum.
Shaknoti haiva yas sodhum.
Praksharira vimokshanat.
Praksharira vimokshanat.
Kama krodhodbhavam vegam.
Kama krodhodbhavam vegam.
Sayukta sasukhi naraha.
Sayukta sasukhi naraha.
Together, Shaknoti haiva yas sodhum. Praksharira vimokshanat. Kama krodhodbhavam vegam. Sayukta sasukhi naraha. So Shaknoti. Shaknoti means kar sakta hai. In Hindi they have a phrase, kar sakta hai. That came from the Shaknoti means one who can. Shaknoti iha aiva. Here itself. Not after death, not in heaven, not somewhere else. Here on this earth, now itself, yaha. Yaha means whoever that person is, male, female, young, old, short, tall, whoever that person is. Shaknoti sodhum, who can bear it, who has the ability to bear. Prak sharira vimokshana. Prak means before, sharir means body, vimokshana means before giving up the body. Before giving up the body, one who can bear what? So it says, Kama, Krodha, Udbhavam, Vegam. Vegam means the force which has come out of Kama and Krodha, anger and desire. So the strong force coming out of desire and anger, one who can bear it while living in this world. Sa yukta, he is yukta, he is the yogi. He has become one with that truth. He is that. He is connected with God, and sa sukhi naraha, and he is a happy individual. So if I want to be yukta, if I want to be connected with God, if I want to be sukhi, I want to be happy, and I want to be called a nara, I have to practice this. If I don't practice this, then I'll become ayukta, I'll become dukhi, and then they will have doubt whether I'm nara or not, whether I'm a human or not. So first is vimoksha. Moksha means give up. Moksha means to give up, mukti. Vimoksha means to completely give up. See, we give up every day. When we go to bed at night, we give up our body, mind, identification. But vimoksha means, visheshana moksha means death. When I have given up completely my body, attachment and my body, such a person is yukta. He is united that even before death, he is able to give up his attachments to this body and also bear the force of anger and desire. And why does Bhagavan say ihaivayaha? Because Bhagavad Gita is to be practiced in the marketplace. When I'm dealing with situations, when I have problems with my family or my work or my environment, or, when the changes come, heat and cold, joy and sorrow, success and failure, then Gita has to be practiced, not only just kept in the book or, what people do, they have their Bhagavad Gita, they either put it on the shelf or they put it in the puja room. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna is there, so I have to put my book. It's not meant for putting in the puja room. It is meant to be read every day. Open it and read it, even if it gets torn. That is the whole purpose. And it should be practiced in the marketplace. Now, why desire? See, desire is a problem because desire has a lot of children. So the first child of desire is anger. I wanted something and I didn't get it. And the person who obstructed, like I wanted a job and somebody else got it, then I get angry. Or I wanted to buy something, it was on sale and somebody else took it and there's no more, then I get angry at that person. So desire creates anger. Then anger also, then it creates, second child is jealousy. I don't have it and somebody else has it. I have a small house, other person has a bigger house. So it creates jealousy. Then it creates greed. I have one, now I should get two. I should get 1 million, 5 million, billion, we talked about. So these are all the children: anger, greed, jealousy, hatred, then selfishness. If I have desire, only I should get it. I should not share it. So desire, it seems harmless, but it has a lot of children that come with it. And so that's why desire, anger, Bhagwan mentions as the first one, but all the others are understood. And where does desire arise from? From ignorance. From not knowing that my true nature is Om, Atma, that is who I really am. I am that Atma. We talked also in our meditation class today. But that fullness that we experience within, once I contact with God within, then nothing of the world can bother me. We have talked many times. Look at Mirabai's life, Tukaram's life, Sant Gyaneshwar, Jesus. How many problems they had in life, but they were always connected with God. Mere to Giridhar Gopal, dusra na koi. Then world cannot bother these people. And this Vegam, then the Ramakrishna Paramhans had given what are the three things that we are attached to? 3 K's or K in Hindi. Kamini, Kanchan, Kirti. Ramakrishna Paramhans says these 3 K's or K's you are attached to. What is Kamini? Woman. That means the opposite sex. For a man, it is a woman. For a woman, it is the opposite sex. So we are so attached that some people even commit murder and do horrible things to acquire. The story of Helen of Troy, we know, where 2 armies fought and thousands of soldiers died, and the war went on for so many years. Why? For the king, he wanted to marry Helen, who was married to the other king. He wanted to get her. So there is no end. So that is Kamini. And Kanchan means gold. Gold means wealth, power. For that, we'll do anything for power. We see in our history also of our, where the 2 kings, they're fighting with each other, and the Mughal invader came or the British came, and the 2 kings, because they didn't like each other, one joined that one to destroy this king. And ultimately, when the Muslim won, then they killed both of them. We hear the story of Jai Chand and Prithviraj Chauhan, where his own brother-in-law joined with Mahmud Ghaznavi to get Prithviraj Chauhan killed. So Kanchan is power and Kirti is name and fame. So we see people in elections, they will do anything to put the opponent down, put wrong kind of information about him to become famous. So these are the 3 things. And that is such a vega, so much power when this comes. So how do we handle that? So when desire comes, there are 3 things. Either you indulge, or you suppress, or you sublimate. Indulge it, enjoy, khao, pio, keep on doing it. But the more you enjoy, it is like analenacha, the fire which is never satisfied. You keep putting more wood in the fire. Fire never says anala. Nala means enough. Anala means not enough. Fire never says enough. So desire is the more you indulge, the more it increases. The second is suppress. I really, really want it, but I won't do it, and then in the mind, I keep on desiring, but outside I tell everybody, oh, I have given up drinking or I have given up this or, but my mind is all the time focused on whatever the object could be alcohol, could be subject, could be person, could be anything. And then sooner or later that will erupt. You can only suppress something for so far. Like a balloon, you keep pushing, finally it will pop. And that's unfortunately happens in people who take up the spiritual path. Not all, but there's a small minority of people who become monks or become priests. The young men are not mentally prepared yet. They have not gone through proper understanding, and maybe his girlfriend left him, so he gets depressed and he becomes a monk or a priest. But the desire is still there for the opposite sex, and that's when these people unfortunately do wrong things. Why? Because they have forcibly suppressed this desire. Truly, they have not understood why I have given up the world, why I have become a priest or a monk. If there's a right understanding, and that comes from the third thing, sublimate, where when the desire comes, you direct the desire to God. Sublimate. So Swami Tejomayananji Guruji says, he says, when you have greed, become greedy for spirituality. Yesterday I did one japa, one mala, today I'll do two. Tomorrow I'll do three. Yesterday I meditated 15 minutes, today half an hour. Yesterday I spent 1 hour in community service, today I'll do 2 hours, 3 hours. If that person is doing, I will do more. Competition, not to put that person down, but the idea that I should do as well as that person. So you get inspiration. So your greed, your jealousy, all those can be channeled towards God. Like anger, you get angry with yourself. I promised myself I'll get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to meditate. Alarm went off and I turned it off. Why did I do that? So you channel even these negative qualities in a positive manner and sublimate them, so that slowly as you direct them towards God, your vices will become virtue. So that's what the purpose, benefit of this knowledge is, that learning these things, and that's why they say keep your mind in sattva, in sattvic qualities, in sattvic actions. Because the more sattvic action, see what happens is there is tamas, rajas, and sattva. Tamas is laziness, rajas is activity with passion, and sattva is purity. So, what does rajas do? Rajas makes me want to accomplish more, to compete, to put others down. Tamas takes me towards laziness. Sattva takes me towards purity, towards the right knowledge. So studying the Bhagavad Gita, learning the scriptures, applying this will take our life from tamas and rajas to sattva. And ultimately you go beyond sattva, where even that fascination for, like some people get so, it's good to do puja and meditation and all, but one day the child is sick and the mother couldn't do her prayer, and then whole day she's crying and she's depressed. Oh, I used to get up in the morning. No, that day it's okay. You couldn't do puja because your child was sick. You had to take. So even sattva can become binding. That's what Bhagavan says in the 14th chapter, that tamas binds by laziness, rajas binds by passion, by possessiveness, and tamas can bind in this way, or you become more arrogant. I go to temple every week, every day, and this guy doesn't go. or I pray, or I go to class, I study this and this guide. So sattvic activities also can bind up. So again, ultimately the goal is to go beyond sattva. Of course, the wise person activities will remain sattvic, but his mind is always connected with God. So we'll end here today because these two shlokas took a lot of time, and then the next shloka also needs a lot of discussion. And we don't have too much time today. I would like to end a little early so we can go to the hall where we are going to do the 15th chapter chanting and Tapovan Shatkam, and I'll talk to the children about the importance of study of Bhagavad Gita. So I'll end here. And just to summarize, basically the sense objects give us dependence, addiction, take us downward, and sometimes make us do wrong things. And all the sense objects are temporary, and adyanta vantakantaya, and a wise person does not indulge in them. And then in the second shloka, we heard about that a wise person who is able to bear the force of desire and anger in this life itself, such a person is sukhi. He is happy and he is yukta. He is connected with God. So if we want to be happy and connect with God, we have to reduce our desire. Reduce desire for the world and increase desire for God. There is nothing wrong with that. That if I spend more time in prayer, meditation, in serving the community, doing charity, helping others, the more you do, the better. But reduce worldly activity and direct your mind. It's like a river. It has been flowing this way. I have to change the direction of my mind, the river of my mind. So we'll end here. If anybody has questions, comments, please feel free. If you would like to summarize, you have a minute here.
Hari Om, this is Krishna. Thank you, Anilji. What I learned today is chapter 5, sloka number 22. So pleasures arising out of, or pleasures arising with contact with the senses are the source of suffering. But what I learned also is contact with, say, satsang. They can be helpful. So not all contact with senses is suffering, but the satsang, it could be a good thing. They do have a beginning and an end. So the wise realize that and do not indulge in that temporary delightness.
Thank you.
Then the second one is people who can endure the impulses of desires. So, but also anger. But what Anilji was mentioning is karma and krodha. So in karma has a lot of children. Krodha is one child, bigger child, I guess. Then we have jealousy, envy, self-centeredness. Is it selfishness or self-centeredness?
Both.
Yes. Okay. And then people who can endure those in the real world can, they are real yogis.
Thank you.
So
thank you
that's
so much.
what I like. Yeah. One on a lighter note is, I don't know about Bhagavad Gita, but all the time what Anilji was mentioning is in the Jagat Guru Adi Shankaracharya and Vivek Chodamani, who said that buffalo is wiser than people. Sometimes when I have that picture in my mind all the time, and whenever I get, even this week or last week, sometimes I go down elevated, suddenly that picture comes into my mind. I'm like, okay, with ignorance, buffalo has this, you put a chappal or garland or chapels or flowers, it says Chitta Pragnata. Maybe I need to learn more and to work on that. So,
Thank you.
that's a good, actually, that's a very good,
Good one.
picture whenever I
Yeah.
come
Anybody
there.
else here in the audience or on Zoom? Yeah, come. You can come here. Can talk in the mic because the people on Zoom can hear.
I think, like you said, look at even the negative things, turn it into positive. Like the mother who does the prayers every day and she's not able to do it because the child was sick. The way my mother-in-law, actually my father-in-law's brother's wife, she used to say, God is giving you rest today.
Right.
So look at it in the positive sense, turn it into a positive sense, and that becomes, and the service that you did to the child and make the child better is a bigger service than you doing the chanting and praying to God.
Yeah.
So change the negative into a positive aspect.
Positive.
So that's a great thing. And then one other thing I was thinking was இதுவும் கடந்து போகும். We have a saying in Tamil, which means even this will pass.
Right.
Nothing is permanent. Be happiness, be sadness, anything is temporary. So leave it and then say, let the benefit come as it is and absorb it. Even the negative will turn into a positive thing sometimes.
Thank you. Thank you for the comments. Good comments. On Zoom, anybody has any? You can unmute. Whoever, just please. Any questions? Any comments? No one? Kusum, go ahead.
I think you really did so well, these two slokas, and the thing hit me was the dukkha yonayaha, which is the womb of the sorrows. So if we remember only that word when you're doing or something, that it is probably very short-lived. And Guruji gives beautiful example. He says that, let's just take 1 minute. He says the child is in the womb and it takes 9 months to come out and we don't see the child in the womb. Similarly, the sorrows and pleasures is not understood while we are enjoying, but it is delivered later. That's why the scripture says that be careful while you're enjoying and trying to get this happiness from there. And the second verse is the kama, krodha, bhavam, vegam. That is the biggest enemy, calm and krodh, in our spiritual life to progress, because they cause the maximum trouble. And Lord Krishna has picked only these two because there are so many negative things, but these two are the root causes of other negativities, like, you mentioned the greed and jealousy, prejudice, possessiveness, and all that. And they are actually the highway robbers, like in Bhagavad Gita, I think chapter 3 or something. They are the highway robbers that they rob our peace and happiness. So we have to be really very alert, and that's how we can be very get out of this. And that's why Lord Krishna even assures us that you can get rid of this and get your happiness if your mind is kept very alert and vigilant all the time, and just think about it before you do anything. So I thought these two words are really the dukkha yonaya and kam krodha bhavam. It's really just hits it, like these two slokas, and very helpful in our practical life. So actually, this is for us.
Very nice. The robbers are paripanthi now. That's what Bhagavan Shri Krishna uses that word. They are highway robbers. So these steal away and one has to be very careful. Desire and anger. Any other questions? Any comments? Satisfy anything? Yeah, you can hear.
I can talk loud. So I think with your Gurudev's prime statement, detached from the lower, attached to the higher, it summarizes these
yes.
verses. It's like a pendulum for us. When we are in satsang, we feel that we are on the right path, but then we get out and then we attach to the world. So our attachment to each is like a pendulum.
Right.
And we are capable at times to be yogis. Like when we go to someone's funeral, that's when we realize that this is all temporary, the world is temporary and all that. And the minute we get out, we are back to normal again, right?
Right.
And same thing. And when we go to someone's, an elderly person suffering in the hospital, we realize, oh my God, this could be me someday.
Right.
So all these things we are capable, but we just have to have the right focus.
Thank you. Okay, we'll end here. Doesn't look like there are any more questions. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukhabhat Bhave. Om Sato Ma Satgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityurma Mritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Next week we have a new topic called Nirvana. You know what is Nirvana, the final moksha. 3 very beautiful shlokas Bhagavan has given. So we'll cover those next three shlokas on this topic of Nirvana. So that will be next week. Thank you everybody for joining. Thank you for your comments. Hari Om. Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you.
अच्छा लगता है आपसे अकेले अकेले पढ़ते हो तो बहुत कंफ्यूजन होते जाता है।